What's good? What's happening, guys? We have been capturing the best possible swing trades across the altcoin market. In our last live stream, somebody said, hey, Jesse, I'm concerned about CAP. Is this going to print or what? Because there was a lot of volatility after our initial entry. What we're going to focus on in today's episode as we go over, example, this Velvet trade, we're anticipating August 10th. Somebody brought up the angled trendline system. This was extremely popular with Caspa back during the last bull run, and we've used it again to time almost the exact breakout on Velvet. Because it was a bit lower, we can say, hey, it was a day later, actually happening on August 11th. With CAP, this is one of the top 10 ripping altcoins across the entire market. PRL, very close behind it, already stacking in a double up with even more upside projected to take place. And that kind of gets into when we correlate our outlook with our trading plans. Some traders will take this look where they're like, we need outcome. It's got to be outcome based. But what we'll find over the long run is when it's based in the process, when we understand what's causing these altcoins to go up anyway. How is it possible that we're able to get into CAP right before it rips to the upside, or PRL right before it breaks out instantly? And that's understanding the process. So as we understand more of what's happening with these altcoins, it'll give our trading plans more strength. That way we can hold them through any possible, whoa, like CAP, we jump in here, it goes all the way up to 45 and then comes right back down and starts testing our entry level until now it's printing. These are the top altcoins over the past 14 days. 14 days ago, it was that really important FOMC meeting when the Fed said, hey, guess what? We're not hiking rates. That can be fairly bullish. And what we've got here is all the incoming events. There was just a jobs report on Friday. Now that jobs report could have ruined everything. It could have delayed everything and put pressure on the Republicans to do something with the price of oil, because right now we can see September right at the bottom of this article, and that's for the Clarity Act. What else is going on in September? They're voting on the dot plot. Right? The dot plot vote. That's what causes all these market moves. Each one of these circles is when they removed a lot of rate cuts and added rate hikes. Here, here, here. And then they did it here, but they've been walking it back in the Fed because of oil. This can really open the door for that election cycle rally. When the next circle emoji comes up, it might be more dovish, showing less rate hikes or even a rate cut, because of a labor market crisis that we can see in the data. And this is, again, getting into that whole mindset stuff. You know, everybody wants to get the pick of the week, the research that somebody spent hours all night doing, but mindset is equally important. And I think with our trading system, it's really easy to correlate the two with the macro data system. Once we understand what's going on behind the market, what's driving these upsides, as we pivot from money in the bonds, which is safety, like Michael Saylor, sell your Bitcoin, buy bonds. Now we're starting to go in the other direction, just enough for the low cap altcoins to rip. Looking at the total three, you see June 17th, huge date. That's when that bearish dot plot came out. By the time the total three gets back up there, our low cap picks like CAP, PRL, which are in the top 10. The only filter we have here is we want 10 million market cap and up and no meme coins. And yes, we've got some fresh meme coins for you guys to check out. Like, who heard of Mars coin? How many guys out there heard of Mars coin? Do you know what this is all about? This isn't just some degen Elon Musk narrative. They're actually creating, and this is just starting right now. So for all you guys in the trenches, you might have seen this, and you can get on top of the next big moves. They paired it with a tokenized stock for SpaceX. And look at what it did. Goes from 500,000 to 50 million. Now, one that we've got on radar is Grand Theft Auto. No affiliation with Rockstar. Now, if you guys are real trench warriors, you'll wait until the game is released in like 60 days. Sometime there's going to be a real official Rockstar meme coin for in-game currency. And that's obviously going to split faces in half. But in the meantime, this is paired with the stock behind the game. So great hodl. We know how long we're going to hold it. We have some security and value. And we've also got a reiteration of the SpaceX thing with SpaceX coin. So this is just starting to trend right now. Stockbroker, obviously huge, still pushing upside. So let's get back to where we are with Fed data and all these top projects. This one, XST, a group member found with our gem hunting guidelines. A group member pointed this out. This one, CYS, in the event you missed this one, no big deal. It was hard to capture this upside. Although we had anticipated there'd be a pullback to that 20-cent range and to buy anything there. Using hindsight, obviously we can see this one getting ready to run. For anybody who's interested in mining, you might want to take a look at this as a hardware pickup. Your accountant can say, hey, this is a tax write-off. So down here, we're getting low, we're getting that sideways consolidation, and then right as the Fed starts to pivot, we get the breakout. Hard to time that one exactly. So we're just looking at the top 20 altcoins across the whole market, 10 million and up, no meme coins. We're excluding meme coins because they just bog everything down. Here's CAP. So it's a top 10 project over the past 2 weeks. So for a swing trade, this is right where you want to be. And it's got 105% upside. That's right in the range with the top 5. So this is just a couple of candles away from being a top 5 altcoin swing trade. We captured it. There was a lot of FUD online. And the key here is because we understand the process, obviously it's crypto. Every once in a while, these cap trades are going to go the wrong direction. But as we understand the process, right, the Fed pivoting from the dot plot vote, the labor market report supporting that, the FOMC meeting, when they say we're not hiking rates, is the first milestone into this combination catalyst. With a Clarity Act delayed until September, and it just so happens September is when the Fed's going to unlock even more money from their dot plot event. How beautiful is that? So by understanding the process, we still say, hey, CAP, great pick. And then a couple of clicks below that, PRL. Now, recently, PRL has been doing these huge wicks to the upside, right? And then just losing all its gains. Huge wicks. What we're seeing now with this rounded bottom is all the sellers, all the jeeters are out. No cap. And what it's ready to do is start stacking on a market cap. Now, using the process of macro data trading, we're able to, one, get in right before this launched, right before this breakout started. Now, in the event it kind of went sideways for a minute, we understand the process. So we can still hold that. We can still hold that. Yeah, our VIP group right now, over the past 2 weeks since the Zama and the last Velvet trade, which was here, this new cycle, the election cycle rally, we've got to be the best across the whole market, which is what I'm trying to prove to you guys. It's a system. I can teach you how to do it. In the event you're trading altcoins right now and you do not actually use actively in every trading plan this stuff, FOMC meetings, minutes, labor markets for entries, you got to jump in our group. There's going to be another round coming when? When's the next big entry? Here at the FOMC minutes, because it's a document explaining why the Fed didn't hike rates, why CAP started to rally here, right? And PRL took off to the upside there. And as that information comes in, more money comes out of the bond market, right? And then it's free to enter into the altcoins. Now, understanding that process, there's going to be some big gem hunting coming up in the next 72 hours. We've got a CPI inflation and a PPI inflation report. We can use these to scout out where the next big runner is. We have already done this with, for example, bio. Our original bio entry was done using this mythology, understanding this process. Just because a huge wick, this is a surprise PPI and CPI. So out of nowhere, inflation's super low. Suddenly a bunch of projects, not just bio, but a bunch. Lab would have been the best one. You guys remember Lab? This was the start of the Lab explosion. So this one barks to the upside and we put it on a watch list. We're going to get it at a future catalyst. At the next FOMC meeting, it goes parabolic, right? And this is a Coinbase listing. Digressing. So we've got another CPI and PPI coming in. What we're going to look for is projects that do a quick spike to the upside and then lose those gains. What's it going to show us? We understand the big process here, and that is the bond market's impacted by this labor data, the strength of the US dollar. So as yields go down on the DXY, from this information, it frees up liquidity to go into the altcoins. And a lot of these are already pre-programmed winners by the bookmakers, by the market makers, and the institutions who truly move these big market cap projects. That's why we're able to time, I would say at least 65% of our trades, we correctly anticipate the exact day, like the minute an explosive breakout happens, which is kind of bizarre, but it really shows that we've decoded something. So there's going to be a ton of work to do this week, depending on how CPI and PPI comes out. It might just be neutral. It might just be a nothing burger. And we can just let that keep rolling. And then this is going to be the big enchilada. CAP, guys. For everybody who's in CAP now, beautiful. Imagine this, CPI and PPI comes out, it's a little bit bearish. We get another rounded bottom, right? Giving all the late entry guys a chance to DCA this, the rounded bottom, average upside of a cup and handle, 300 to 500%. This baby is ready to go completely parabolic. What does it do? It's stablecoin narrative. Stablecoin protocol. September, Clarity Act voting simultaneously with the Fed's next dot plot event, where we already can see because of the oil, they're walking back the rate hikes. So this CAP project, momentum traders are on the sidelines right now, I would imagine, trying to get a late entry. We've already pigged out on it in VIP. We're in early. If you got a $5,000 position the morning of the FOMC meeting, where we're planning all this stuff ahead so you can, get a plan. Now you've got a $10,000 position from 5 to 10, and now the explosion is ahead. As long as first the FOMC minutes, if it rallied at the meeting, let's change that from VIP to the event that it was. That's the meeting, right? The FOMC meeting. So at the minutes, that's explaining what was going on behind closed doors. We would anticipate, hey, that ought to kick up some growth. Surely. parabolic breakout. So we got to start factoring in take profit, get a little finesse in there. We'll be ready to take some of our bag down with the rest riding for some Pentagon fueled explosion, right? With our leaders and the Clarity Act. All right. Yes. You know, it's better to lose a winning trade than lose any capital. So when we get our entry here, as it's coming back down, yeah, definitely a chance to exit and then a potential even a re-enter at the bullish labor market print, which would have been here at about 28 right here. And if we zoom in on that, it's a bull flag, right? Like when we were really right here, there was that big wick and kind of a flag. And then we got the labor market print. Boink. So a bit of finesse. Obviously, that's got to be fairly customized. But, you know, taking a little profit here, adding a little back on here, that never hurts anybody. Just make sure that you don't overtrade and you do it logically. I would wait for a potential pullback that we can get in the event CPI and PPI is bearish. And this is what all the momentum traders will be waiting for. They'll be waiting for the handle on average can cut it in half. So it could come down pretty deep. And if you're nimble, you could scoop that up. But there's other opportunities that are emerging that we can get into. Those are really good long-term plays. And we'll jump into both TAP, WorldCoin, and NEAR just in a second here. Thank you, Golden Psycho. Yeah, and Velvet, boom. This is the power of the angled Fibonacci pitch. This is something that we were using on Caspa throughout the bull run to really get uncanny accuracy. As you can see here, our projection was August 10th at 60 cents, there'd be a breakout. So what actually happened is it came in lower, so it didn't hit the trend line until the 11th. And it breaks out this morning. Kind of weird. Now, what's happening there with macros? This is part of the Why Monday Matters document that we pulled up and shared with all of our members. Particularly on jobs reports like we saw on Friday, you're going to get a delayed reaction. And this isn't just a thesis that we've studied inside our group. This is something that pundits across the world have studied. See this Monday? Monday's the best day of the week. So whenever there's a labor market print on Friday, like there just was, and it was bullish, this often has a delayed impact into that Monday. So right here, Friday morning, good news. And remember, the altcoin market was dead then. It was just so quiet. The only thing that was running was meme coins. And so we've got it. And we've got bullish was the read, right? Bullish, boom, we got a surprise drop in new jobs, and that prevents the Fed from hiking rates. They cannot hike rates with the labor market like that. And that gives more liquidity, more time for this election cycle rally thesis. It's really nice. Great question with Cap. Keeping this mindset congruent, instead of thinking about a number, let's think about the most bullish process that can fuel the upside for Cap. We know it's a stablecoin project. So when the Clarity Act comes out on September 15th, this gets released and there's something really bullish about it for stablecoins. We'll see projects across the sector start to rally. Circle Stock will also jump to the upside. Now, that was an event that we are looking at inside VIP, the Circle stock, that's actually a hidden catalyst across altcoins. And we did get a bullish earnings report right here. For NEAR, for CFG, this has historically caused huge breakouts. You can just align these dates yourself. February 26th and May 1st. You remember that huge catalyst cluster, Powell's final meeting, when like everything went wild? Also, Circle had a bullish earnings, just kind of adding gasoline on the fire. So it just had a bullish earnings print here. So what we would want to see is, first, that takes place. Second, this FOMC minutes confirms what we're anticipating. The Fed cannot hike rates because of oil. Once they put in writing, our rate hike tool isn't going to do us any good now because inflation is because of the conflict overseas. Thus, they'll be delaying it until the end of the year, like we've already been drawn out based on reading all the Fed data. We believe there'll be rate hikes here when everybody's taking profit at the institutional level for the end of the year. And that's pretty much a gimme. And that can send CAP on the move. From a technical analysis standpoint, the cup and handle averages 300 to 500x from the neckline, which we can call 40. And that's with a bullish FOMC minutes. Now, from that minutes to the September FOMC meeting, we've got another 30 days. The dot plot paired with a Clarity Act that hits for CAP, this thing can really start to pick up. Now, what have some of our biggest runners been in? Stablecoin protocols. Some of these have ripped to the upside. The example being River. We were able to use the FOMC documents to enter into River way when it was down low. This actually doesn't even show the whole chart. Here we go. So we were using the FOMC documents to get in here, planning it for weeks ahead of time. The FOMC minutes comes out, it says, yeah, we're going to do this that supports stablecoins, which was buying treasury bills, because remember, we understand the process. And what we do is we make trades to the best of our ability by understanding the process. The outcome will happen. We're not measuring our trades about outcome. We're keeping it really process orientated. We understand from the teachable system inside our VIP group, the macro data system, how this stuff is just impacting the altcoins, how it's causing, on the exact day that we think it's going to, breakouts take place over and over again across the market. So it could go bonkers, man, with the right process behind it. River started at a 50 million market cap. And it's got that rounded bottom. So it could get ape. Could get ape. You know, Caspa, my favorite project. When Caspa's running and I can do videos about trading Caspa, it's epic. A lot of people would say that we have the best trading record with Caspa. We did a video with all of our call outs. When the next bull run comes around, we're going to open up a FOMO account. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's an app in the DGen trenches for these altcoin traders. I'll slap some cash down on it so people can see how accurate our Caspa trading method is. The issue with Caspa is not on chain. It's all in the Fed. And Caspa's making a really big pivot right now in general. Their prior #1 catalyst was the Fed doing bond unlocks. Right here, the Fed went ahead and they did 30 days of quantitative easing. Guess what the Fed just said? They won't do quantitative easing ever again. That brief injection of liquidity helped fuel all the marathon digital mining, helped get all the institutions aligned with CASPA, and correlated with the Bank of Japan rate hike right there. That was when the Bank of Japan hiked rates. They hiked rates here. No, they hiked rates here, yeah. They hiked rates here as well, slowing down the growth, stopping the parabolic upside. And this is understanding the process. What CASPA is doing right now with all of its beautiful on-chain growth, in my opinion, is it's looking for a new catalyst. It might start breaking out at the durable goods. It might join Tau and start breaking out at the jobs reports. Because the previous cycle, it was directly connected to quantitative easing. So CASPA really in a development, really cocooning right now. And we always see this. Like, look at Solana, right? Huge bull run, comes all the way down. It was like $5-8 a Solana. I remember when we were trading Solana, like arguing 25's too expensive. We need to wait and get it down here at 15 using the macro data. So these huge pullbacks on projects that are new like CASPA, it's no big deal. I'm still anticipating CASPA has a huge rally. Obviously, this thing is not reliable, but I want to point something out. It does. This thing, I've tracked it for a while, can occasionally have some decent insight. It tracks a ton of technical stuff. It's a specialty AI. Our anticipation that we made for how the bull run's gonna start, right? We had the end of the year rate hike, downside, and then as inflation starts chilling out after the April FOMC minutes, slowly the bull run starts. And then Q4 of 2007, the bull run really starts gaining traction. Then we get upside in 2028. This is almost identically what it's lining out for CASPA, which I felt was interesting since that's all based in technical analysis. If this AI robot came out with a trading plan that actually aligns with something that we already put together, looks like it can underline its accuracy. So for me on CASPA, here's my big trading plan. And this is a good idea, guys. I'm going to go into my bank, purchase some S&P 500, purchase some Coinbase stock, and then enter an S block where you can loan against that. And then purchase CASPA for a long-term hodl. Because there's plenty of time. We're not in a big rush for CASPA, guys. But its day will come. And believe you me, as soon as CASPA's ready to go, I'll be the first to start trading it. This is a great question, Riz, and it overlaps with understanding process in general. And we're getting a lot of insight because this is the second bear market rally, right? This was a top swing trade at one point. I got to use these buttons. I love these buttons. It's got a ton of verified on-chain upgrades happening right now, including correlating it to tokenized stocks. Tokenized stocks are big. They can also align deeply with this election cycle rally. So Velvet is on the launch pad for some serious gains. We've anticipated it even flipping these two spikes to the upside, using them as support, and then similar to DEXE or Lab or any of these projects that just went completely goofy, this is also in the DeFi sector. Just goes off the rails to the upside and then choink, nothing. Let me break down to you some of this process specifically for DeFi picks like Velvet and when this can really start to amp up. Also, if you're holding a DeFi pick, and it's not breaking out yet, this can help you understand the process and anticipate when it's going to get going. So during this last bear market rally right here, really key points, that April FOMC minutes, right? That was like one of the major events. The Fed disclosed how they just released all this liquidity. Right here, April FOMC minutes. And you can see the market starts pivoting upside. Now getting to that Circle earnings report, which was also Powell's last FOMC meeting, which was also
exciting now.
Durable goods print that was bullish all together. This huge catalyst cluster. This is when the altcoins went nuclear. You could have just had a team of monkeys throwing a dart at a board and you would have hit altcoins. What started trending after that peak was what? DeFi, obviously. That's when all these DeFi projects started to go nuclear. Magma, right? Because all the trading volume's up. Okay, so by understanding the process, first, liquidity is going to come from the bonds, and it's going to be triggered by all this macro data. Then it's going to rotate into these altcoins, triggering upside, and we'll cover the big caps like Tau, Near. Near had a huge rip during that last Circle earnings. There's the Circle earnings report. It was the all-time bottom for Near. Why did Near have such a big impact? They can mint Circle on chain. So when suddenly Circle's booming, so is Near. So there's your Circle's earnings report, and then there was another one here. Now there just was one. So is Near ready to pivot? In my opinion, absolutely. And as these altcoins, like we already know for sure, Tau with a jobs report, this one might have started the sideways progression, and then the future one will break out, but we're in a little bit early. That's okay. That's a jobs report, starts consolidation, and then that's a jobs report, starts the breakout. And it was the Friday, Monday flip with that why Monday matter stuff we were just talking about, right? Monday, like we just experienced from a bullish labor market print, is when payday usually comes. So once Tau, once Near, they start posting gains, once the total 3 itself gets back up to that June 17th dot plot, then all the liquidity can start going into low caps, and then finally projects like Velvet. That's why I personally have a strong hodl on my Velvet, because I want to see it because of its tokenized stock collections for the tail end of this final leg or second leg of the bear market rally. Just like this whole segment here. We understand the process. April FOMC minutes, they restored liquidity. The liquidity problems was exactly what was causing all the downside, just like we outlined for Caspa traders. Right in the description, you can read that whole trading plan. There's a ton of good trading plans in the description if you want to check out what's going on in VIP and get in on these trades to the day, to the dollar, like we're doing. Had you had been in when the market was really slow, you'd have cap on the low, because we like repeat posted that. Disproved FUD went through the 9 because we had a good feeling with that. It checked out across the board, right? It just aligns with everything. So Velvet on deck to become potentially the next lab. We understand the process, right? So just like that, the reason everything got going, they restored the liquidity. Then there was that surprise inflation print, which actually brings us into what's happening tomorrow, guys. So for VIP members, get ready, because we've got that surprise, or we've got a incoming CPI and PPI. We'll do a full sliding scale. So to show you that one that caused everything to start rallying during the last bear market rally, check this out. So this is how it works. And the date on that was right around April 15th. So what fueled all of that upside is this. We go in and we get a look at the data. This is how we time everything to the exact day because we understand the process. This information, these random numbers that talk about inflation, they directly impact the bonds, how much liquidity is in the market. So we go over every possible outcome 24 hours before it's even released. So in the morning, 5:30, we're having our morning coffee. We can see it came out bearish. It came out bullish. We've already got it figured out before it happens. Every possible outcome. Then the outcome is released. Here's the results back in April. And this is about to happen in the next 72 hours. It comes out and it just smacks us in the face with bullish. Super bullish, right? So it's on like Donkey Kong and everything's ripping to the upside. And then Powell does his final meeting, right? And it was bullish, et cetera, et cetera. Now we've got a whole new roster of this stuff coming. And by the time all these events push the altcoin market back up to the previous dot plot FOMC meeting that was super bearish, all these low caps will be going goofy. They'll just be going goofy. So super awesome stuff. And by the way, the VIP members have been banging out using our gem hunting tactics. Awesome picks. So these are the best trades you could have possibly got over the past 2 weeks. For new viewers who aren't subscribed, we openly did a challenge to ourselves. We're like, okay, we're going to show everybody how it's done. We're just going to, after the trades happen, we're just going to broadcast all our trades, good, bad, indifferent, right? 14 days ago, the FOMC meeting happens. We're pig piling into cap. It's a double up. We're pig piling into PRL. It's almost a double up, can be in a couple of days. VIP members using this gem hunt system that we just went over with these, looking at the data as it comes, they find XST and they find another really good one. GRVT. That's what it was called. GRVT, right? So it's a very teachable tactic. They got GRVT down here at 20. So it's already starting to ramp up. Now, what's GRVT? It's a perpetual DEX exchange. What did we just went over? Just like Velvet, this is going to be a late breakout. So they went ahead and secured an early entry on something that they hypothesized from understanding the process that later, after all this stuff takes place, so much money is going to get unlocked and then forced back into the altcoin market. Boom, that project will rally. And it's only up 33% since they bought it. But because, maybe more, that's at one point, that's getting close to a double up at that wick. They understand the process. So they're totally comfortable with this pick. So good stuff coming out of VIP. Yes, smash the like button. I tried to broadcast this on X today and failed. That's why there was a delay. Getting back into bullish sentiment. It's all starting to come back right now. And we're just warming up here. Tau and Near, they're positioned to start picking up pace. Where's that June 17th mark here? Right here on Tau. That's when the Fed came out and did their dot plot thing. So we understand. As soon as that was released, if you're a real action trader, you could short that. And that's what we teach in VIP. We put together these low cap, mid cap, and large cap projects, and we show people the roads, and then they can overlap this with their already existing skill set. you take your macro insight and your timing, and now you add your own technical analysis methods, you're going to do better. It's going to make you a better trader. Unbelievably so. So this rounded bottom starts curling to the upside, really good for Tau. And then as those market caps come up, starts to affect the low caps even more. Let's get into the meme coins. Riz has got one that he found that looks good. CAS monthly RSI is cooked. Yeah. Oh, dude. All of the stats on CAS are completely smoked. Now we have a trading plan unlocked in the description of this video from when the Fed dropped their FOMC minutes. That was like going to nuke the market on October 8th. So 48 hours before this huge wick down, we were like, Mayday, Caspa is cooked. And even more so at the May 15th trend line. You guys remember that? This is so embedded in the process, but we've covered this a lot. Just to quickly touch base on it, all of a sudden, Powell comes out, emergency Jackson Hole, or it might have been Washington, D.C. meeting. The altcoins were ripping from the April 8th FOMC minutes, right? Altcoins are ripping to the upside, and suddenly the whole show stopped because Powell's like waving his baton around. He's like, I'm going to wreck the market. I'll hike rates if inflation doesn't get better. Scares everybody, so we knew to sell here. It double topped everything from Tau onward. There's that May 15th event, just showing how this stuff, it's so embedded into our charts that you really got to understand this to get to your full potential as a trader. Big picture, short-term time frame. And for everybody in VIP, make sure that you have your TradingView macro overlays so you can take a look. You can just lay over all of these historic events on any chart and see, like for Caspa, what's Caspa's biggest catalyst? It's the FOMC minutes, or excuse me, meetings. Look at all these green emojis. People thought that we had supernatural powers on Halloween when we did the 10x leverage trade on Caspa for the Caspa God candle. Everybody was like, dude, you caught the Caspa God candle with 10x leverage? And then once we showed people the trick, they were like, oh, duh, that's it. So Caspa's looking for a new catalyst. It's lost the meetings. It pivoted to the minutes. That started being a big catalyst. See these minutes? Breakout. Look at that minutes. Caused a big wick up. So it pivoted to the minutes here, but that was bearish. And so now it's really just, in my opinion, looking for a new catalyst. So I'm constantly tracking Caspa and saying, hey, what's making this thing tick intraday? Is it jumping up on the jobs report? What's happening? And as it starts to develop, we'll get more information on that. Like Tau, it's locked in. It's jobs. Why? Because of the AI displacement. Now, what's happening here at a big picture that makes it so Tau is so connected to the jobs report? We already understand the whole process of it's going from bonds because of the macro data into the altcoin market. But what's connecting Tau specifically to these jobs report? So I phoned a friend who lives on the penthouse of this building, speaks on CNBC. He goes to the World Economic Forum meetings. He's like a true G baller in this tower on Las Vegas Boulevard. And he told me, well, there's customized bonds. There's bonds for hospitals. There's bonds for AI data centers. And what's going on most likely with your Tau is it's connected to something that's like an AI data center bond. So it's kind of getting the inverse to its actual value. So when the bond goes up, the altcoin goes down, and thus back and forth. The government issuing bonds to build the economy. UAI is one that we are underwater in right now. Now, looking at it, everybody was fairly bullish on this at 30 cents. And then we also had the late entry at 40 cents at the FOMC meeting, gets some upside, comes back down and loses it. What went on here? UAI is an AI DeFi play. Therefore, we could say, just like we were saying with Velvet, GRVT, Home, right? That one on Coinbase. All of these ones do well towards the tail end of the rally. So applying that process to UAI, what happened here fundamentally is, it, as we know, it didn't participate when Lab, Magma, Clo, all of these DeFi projects were ripping, Clo being the one for Say. And then it just kind of had this late breakout sputter and overselling. So this on deck 4, the next DeFi rally at the tail end of this bear market bull run. For people that are just entering in now, this is something to keep on radar for down the road for an instant breakout, or I'm sure there are people that would consider this a value entry right now. My outlook on is when you're taking a loss, particularly on a low cap altcoin like this, I wouldn't really try to average down. That's something that you can do in the top 100 with a Caspa, with a Bitcoin. But on these projects, there might be something that we're not seeing, that we can't even find, that's going wrong. So I would not average down. Yeah, so this one out of our picks is one that's taking in water. Troll, not as bad, but all of the attention going to Robinhood. It's always had breakouts at the durable goods, right? The original spike here, which isn't on this particular chart, but it was exactly at a durable goods. We had the durable goods here. And then when we zoom in on it, like at 5:30 in the morning, it pivots, just showing, just like we were talking about with Tau, how it's connected somehow with some bond that's getting impacted by the durable goods. This is what the process is. Here, same thing. And then here, now this could be a falling wedge that's just going sideways, and at a future durable goods, it's going to pop off, but kind of stuck in the midst. Speaking of meme coins, let's get into this for a second. So I'm having a Mandela effect with my stockbroker. It keeps flipping from 100 million market cap to 50. So we're trying to flag down guys in VIP and talk to them about this stockbroker pick, which looks like a late entry. It's really connected to that tokenized stock narrative. And as you can see, this is from August 15th. August 15th, here, 30 million. Okay, so we're here. Got some decent upside, continued to keep going. What this does is, it's an NFT project, huge flywheel effect that ultimately allows anyone who owns the NFT to just keep getting more stocks on chain. And that's going to be huge, guys, for the Clarity Act. Now, this was big for Marscoin. Marscoin was the first successful stock on chain pair. So some dev creates the Marscoin meme, and then he takes the tokenized SpaceX, pairs it. So it's not just a JPEG on chain.
Exciting now.
It's actually got something behind it. And this thing did really well. Now, when we discovered Grand Theft Auto 6, we started posting about it, and I thought it was the official Grand Theft Auto token. I thought it might have been. So we did really vague posts about it and then narrowed down what it really was. It's paired to the stock behind it. Because when you click the Twitter, it just takes you right to Grand Theft Auto, which is smart. What it is just like that Mars coin. So I've got a bag in this, and it's a pretty easy trade with the game release coming up. So we can just hold this till November. I like this. This is a big trade. Now, for anybody who's really hungry, all you have to do is wait until they're going to release the Grand Theft Auto game, stay up for 72 hours, and find when they list the official meme coin for Grand Theft Auto, because that's going to rocket like parabolically. But this could be just as good. Pfeffer. Here's the thing about the stablecoin chain. And believe me, Pfeffer has a ton of supporters. So I've gone on a vision quest and really started diving into the meme coin sector to do some research, see what's going on. Here's why. Each time, this is really wild, guys. Each time the Fed does a dot plot event and it's bearish, like they take away a rate cut, specifically that there was a rate cut and now no more. This is when Pepe, Brett, there was a huge meme coin rally here. That was when Caspa topped out, right in February. So the Fed makes a move that we can track like looking at a clock, man. And it's huge impact on the market. And what it does is it instigates the altcoin breakout. And I'm going to show you how insane this is with Pepe and Caspa. This is almost frightening how like spot on accurate this is. I think we can get it on Pepe on Binance. Yeah, we got it. So for one, there's the FOMC minutes right there. February 21. The Fed says, look out, we're putting one of these circles on, it's a dot plot vote. When they're in blue, or purple, it's a dot plot vote. They release it, it's bearish. But look at what happened on Caspa. I actually want to overlay the chart. See that? Right there. Pinpoint accuracy. It was basically one of Caspa's all-time high peaks. You see that? So now, it was altcoins catching a monster rip, and then what happens? It pivots into meme coins. Okay, so maybe that was a fluke. Maybe that was just circumstantial. Here, okay, what happened? Same exact thing. Moonwell, everything ripped because they did the rate cuts, which means also more of these circle type of deals, but this time they're bullish circles. That was virtuals, AIXBT, all of those things. So there was like this other meme coin mania 1, meme coin mania 2. Here, not so much, but there was a different issue here. While they did take away some rate cuts here, there was a bigger liquidity issue, which that'll pull the plug on the meme coins too. Here, what happened on June 17th? Same thing. And then we see this meme coin mania. So looking forward, that's all behind us. But what can we anticipate knowing the process? Well, right now we've got CAP running to the upside. We've got PRL stacking real market cap growth. And we're looking into these DeFi plays like Velvet. We've got some big cap projects, Tau, Near, WorldCoin. I'm going to do WorldCoin in a second, and I'm going to take a look at one of the gems that Riz pulled up, VIP member. We get this bear market rally, and it's going to be ended, we're anticipating, by a dot plot vote at the end of the year. So what's going to happen in quarter one, guys? What do we want to be ready for? And it would be my opinion that that's going to start really hitting these tokenized stock deals. Originated by Mars Coin. Right now, one of the best ones I could find, my opinion, GTA 6. Pfeffer, so solid. The thing is, the coin is dead right now. But we know this Clarity Act can help that chain stable a lot. So here's a scenario that can definitely happen, right? Understanding the process. Stable, the crypto, gets Clarity Act upside. It gets that Fed dot plot pivot that we've been talking about. And now this thing starts to do a moonshot. This thing rips to the upside, packing on huge market cap at Q4 from all of this scheduled stuff that we have, right? That being the big whammy right before the election. And of course, the politicians know this, guys. The politicians know this. And that's why, in my opinion, that's when they're going to release this Clarity Act news. All these stablecoin projects, cap explodes, goes to the moon. We're rich, we're cashing out, and we're sitting on cash. But what's about to happen? The Fed's got to take care of inflation. So they hike rates at the end of Q4. What goes on then? Right? So this thing's quietly waiting. And there's a couple of different events that can get it going. So nothing wrong with a bag of Pfeffer. UNITAS. Let's take a look at this gem hunt, and then we're going to get into some big caps like Near. Good volume, good volume. Stablecoin project. Printing upside. What exchanges is it on? MEXC. Okay. Yeah. Let's overlay some of our macroeconomic events recently. The FOMC meeting. That was the 29th. Yeah, so this is aligning with macros. This is feeding off of the bond market. That's why it's so important that we overlay our macros onto every chart. We want to see why it's kicking up and when. Dollar yield project, absolutely. In fact, this is already on my gem hunting watch list. This is on, yeah, this has popped up before. So, yeah, we may have actually, there could have been an entry here. This is, yeah, this is great. So there you go, guys. Gem hunting using our system comes up with good picks. Good find, Riz. Thank you for sharing. Strong Warrior, what's good, buddy? How you been? What we just covered with Cap is the process that Cap's going through, what's going to trigger its growth, what's going to trigger its upside, as opposed to like an outcome-based outlook, right? What can happen for Cap that will push it? What's the best scenario? Because remember, let's say Friday's jobs report came in and it was super bearish, right, Strong Warrior? Would Cap be up here? No. So there's incoming events. Some of them are more set in stone and predictable, like the August 19th FOMC minutes and the meeting, which was our initial entry here. There's a lot of events incoming. So we'll go over the Cap trade for you from the top, including when your best opportunity is for a late entry. And the best possible outcome. How high can it go? What's happening this week? We've got CPI and PPI data. I've already looked ahead. The economists are projecting that this inflation data, it might come in a bit hot, and that would be bearish. It's not going to stop the show. They already realize there's hot inflation, and they're labeling it to the oil conflict. It's not really going to change the show. It's not going to pivot to rate. They can't hike rates with the jobs that low. A hot inflation print can provide a pullback, a momentary pivot as these automated trading bots, what are they going to do? Adjust their position. The bond yield will go up, so they'll pivot out of altcoins automatically on the day more into their bonds and vice versa. So their best possibility for a pullback will be in the event tomorrow, and then more importantly, Thursday's PPI report, that comes in hot. That'll give us a pullback, but it's not going to stop the show. Because when we really build out the full process for what's going to cause CAP's pricing, it's bigger than that. Key point for the whole altcoin market directly affects CAP. The politicians have delayed Clarity Act until September. Mid-September. What's happening on our roadmap in mid-September? The biggest event of all. We've got our FOMC meeting where they're going to vote on the dot plot. And as the Fed chair has said, they wrote the last dot plot in pencil. With the election coming up, and more importantly, because oil is what's causing inflation, the conflict overseas, a rate hike won't help. It'll just be a wasted effort. So they're not going to throw their best weapon until they get a clean shot. So they're going to wait on the rate hike. In the event they explain that and come up with a no September rate hike in writing because of that, that opens the door for this election cycle rally. It supports that upside. So the best scenario is we get that double catalyst cluster, the Clarity Act, and we get a dovish dot plot vote. Now, going into a more near-term time frame, your CPI and your PPI inflation, they cause a discount because of high inflation. That goes along with the technical analysis too. What's it been doing? Spiking and doing these rounded bottom, profit taking. As the profit takers get more and more exhausted, then the move becomes more and more parabolic. What's going to be the big event for CAP? We're anticipating it's going to be the FOMC minutes. Why? That's the document that's going to explain in detail why the Fed didn't hike rates. It's also going to factor in that bullish jobs report that we're feeling right now, that we're seeing on our target projects. So that FOMC meeting, that happened down here, right? On Wednesday, the 29th at 25-26 cents. Since then, we've got this huge upside. When the minute comes out, it's kind of easy to anticipate it's going to be bullish because it's just extending on the meeting that already caused upside. So yeah, it's going to be like a 1-2 punch. First the meeting, then the minutes. Yeah, right there. And then the minutes come up. And it will also explain what was going on in the jobs here, why the jobs were so good. So the best scenario is get a discount after CPI, PPI, and then a repricing after the FOMC minutes. We get some more macro data, and then the big coup d'etat comes. The Fed will have a new dot plot vote that'll push liquidity out of the bonds into these target projects, and it will be targeting CAP because what is TAP? It's a stablecoin protocol, right? And that's what's trending right now, stablecoin protocols. In the event the Clarity Act goes through, right? And they're now, okay, we're good to go with our stablecoins. These are now regulated. This can go bonkers. So hopefully that should give you some insight. And now with your second question, I'm going to add right onto this into the DeFi sector with Velvet. There's Velvet, and what else is there? There's also Home. Velvet and Home, they're both in the same sector. Home is traded on Coinbase. So with all of these DeFi projects, let's, instead of looking at the outcome for a second, let's look at the process. What's causing them to go up? Increased trading. The more people are trading perpetual DEXs, the higher these DeFi picks go up. And we can clearly see that when we zoom into the past bear market rally. Right, looking at the process, first there's the FOMC minutes. Remember, April, they restore the liquidity. We got a surprise PPI inflation. That's when Bio and everything gave us a hint. Hey, these are the ones that are going to run. And then Powell came in and he gave that FOMC meeting, and it was this huge catalyst cluster. Circles, earnings report, a durable goods, everything got together, and that was the final leg up. Now, when did our DeFi projects like Velvet, like Lab, like DEX, like Magma, all these DeFi ones, they really started trending here because the volume was through the roof. The volume on DeFi was peaking right here for obvious reasons, right? We see these huge green candles, everyone gets excited. This is when the trading volume's at a peak. So looking at Velvet, this is projected to start to really peak towards the tail end of our macroeconomic schedule, right? With all these things that we just covered for CAP. Velvet also has these upgrades with tokenized stocks, which connects it to what the politicians are doing. So Velvet, the process is showing us Velvet will be late September with all these DeFi projects showing its strongest upside and peak. Same with Home, right? Now with Home, the .7 dot plot is here. It has a massive connection with what? Jobs reports. These jobs reports are triggering fairly solid upside. Now, the question at hand is, with today's super discount, because they got oversold from profit taking, and the June 17th dot plot, which was super bearish, right? Pulling liquidity out of altcoins into the bonds, understanding the process. Now that the Fed's reversing that, the liquidity is going back in. This is a DeFi project. Thus, as traders get excited, will start to pick up naturally. This is at such a discount level. This is a great buy, and it can go sideways, wiggle around until, right, the process dictates its upside later down this schedule, with the big grand finale being the FOMC dot plot. So looking at Velvet, keep Home in mind as well, because Home's pretty solid project, pretty legit. Velvet, yeah. Looking at some of the technical analysis on Velvet, we're not getting a lot of really well-defined signals. Like previously, remember this entry on Velvet, we were getting a really clear signal here. The one-day stochastics was completely at a down point. It was at swing low position. That's really bullish when you can align it with a macro. On the 1 week, there's a bit of a bullish crossover here and a first green candle. With Velvet, I would definitely layer in here. This thing has a huge range and there's a good chance that it can spike and then do another cup. Therefore, you'll get another discount round. The FOMC minutes, because this is going to be a pretty hard-hitting event, that could help Velvet out as well. But really, as this election cycle rally thesis starts to unwind, that process will just naturally start picking up for Velvet and home. So hopefully that helps you out, Strong Warrior. In the event Caps breaks 5-7 and holds, yeah. Let's take a look at some of our technical indicators, stochastics. Kind of in a bull flag. The 4 hour also peaked. What about the 1 week? There isn't even one. It's a new listing, guys. So this is a brand new listing, which new listings aligning with the Clarity Act with this beautiful rounded bottom. This can really get going here, guys. And it's another reason why layering is really important. Like for somebody like Strong Warrior, has a lot of wealth, wants to get into some big cap projects like I'll cover in a second for long-term HODL value, etc. Also wants to swing trade. By layering in, we can get, if you put 5,000 bucks in, which for a guy like Strong Warrior is like a weekend in the mountains, now he's already got a $10,000 position in. So he can come in with a little bit more size. This is why layering is really important, particularly for people of wealth. Instead of just going all in instantly, there's a lot of volatility there, etc. Layering widely supported by multiple traders. The thing with, to directly answer your question, should we buy Velvet now? I would say no. Why? Well, what are our tactics? Okay, we have specific tactics that we use. One of them, holding cash is shorting. We only enter at a key macro date, right? Here's the thing, Strong Warrior. What happens tomorrow when this key macro date, which is coming, we cannot stop these things. CPI and PPI are about to come in. Why will we buy it right now when CPI and PPI can come in and crash the market a little bit, like we were looking for with CAP, right? Give us that value entry on CAP. We always want to wait for our macroeconomic events. This is going to give us the most control in this totally chaotic world of trading. So with Velvet, no, we wait. We wait for CPI and more importantly, PPI data, which are happening tomorrow and the next day, and there'll be sliding scales up for them. PPI is more high impact than CPI, so it's more likely to actually cause an upside. You can get up at 5:30 Vegas time on PPI, take a look at that data, which will already have it planned out, so it won't be a huge event. You'll see on the sliding scale, we hit bullish, or nope, we miss bearish, we get bullish. That could be a signal to start building a position. But the better outcome for building a position on anything from cap to Velvet is bearish, because it's not going to affect the Fed's decision, because the inflation's coming from the conflict overseas. So it won't dictate a hike. So we can get a little pullback here and get an entry before what we have almost set in stone as a bullish catalyst. Because the meeting was so bullish, the minutes that explains what they're thinking should definitely get it going. Will the dot plot meeting from a few weeks ago, will the dot plot meeting be from the meeting? It will incorporate the jobs report also. So in the FOMC minutes coming up, they'll talk about what went on at the meeting, and they'll talk about the jobs report that happened in between. They'll also talk about the incoming CPI and PPI inflation. It'll be an up-to-date market analysis, including these macro prints. The statistics on CAP are, we've got a bull flag type of reading here. Projects like virtual on the 1 day, you can see, are able to hold bullish, like at the swing high position for weeks, even a month at a time. Just to show you an example, we'll bring up virtuals. 1 day statistics. See this? That's from September 25th to December 30th. It ultimately held swing high position with one exception, and that being right before the November meeting. It pulled back and then bounced to the upside with really almost no wiggle room on the chart. So it's a fairly bullish structure that's not going to give us a ton of extra insight right now, but still good. And the 1 week doesn't even exist yet because it's a new listing. It hasn't even had enough days on the chart. This thing just came out. One thing I want to address specifically with CAP is there was a lot of people fudding it on X. But when you look into that FUD, it was specifically because they were early investors who didn't get an airdrop. So it wasn't really grounded. This new tokenized stock thing for meme coins, as we can see with Mars, huge trend. Let's quickly touch base with the large caps. Tau. We can see this beautiful rounded bottom starting, and that of course is your June 17th dot plot. As this starts to pick up and Tau returns to 280, that's going to be the signal for all these low cap AI projects like PRL to start stacking upside. At the FOMC minutes, that can help extend this bullish jobs report. This is ready to start curling upward very soon. Near. Actually, let's do WorldCoin. WorldCoin just had this big run up. It was at the Win shareholder meeting. Sam Altman, Tommy Lee from Bitwise Ethereum Treasury. They're like he's like the Michael Saylor of Ethereum. They were talking about how important this is. This project can be big. It's connected with AI. It's a large cap. This run up, in my opinion, is just an accumulation spike. Like we see intraday on any of our low caps like bio, right? We got some good news and we got a spike. So this will be loaded up for, this is an easy double up in my opinion, coming with this bear market rally. As cap starts to rip to the upside, this can also post gains along with Near. Near's a great large cap, really connected to stablecoins. Near can mint stablecoins. This was Circle's really bullish earnings report. It's like a local low on near that caused upside. This is starting to reverse right now and aligns with this big event. So it's an early entry now that can post some modest gains throughout these events and then really start to get going here. So by getting an early position, you get more upside, similar to home. Home is DeFi. So we've already gone over the process that will push home up, right? As volume increases from all these events. We're kind of early now, but the thing is, it's such a discount. At any minute, this can reprice to 15 cents, and that's going to take away from your X's in the event this thing goes parabolic, which being a Coinbase new listing DeFi, we can definitely see exactly what happened on the chart with that last bear market rally and then the June event. This is a good one. With GRVT and all of these DeFi projects, we're going to start doing more entries on these later. As Tau and Near start posting gains, like once Tau gets back to the June 17th landmark, that, in my opinion, is going to be the signal to start pushing the risk on these perpetual DEX and exchanges. Oh, the volume's off the chain. Look at this volume right here, and this accumulation spike off the chain. Just an enormous amount of volume. So good signal. And this is definitely on our watch list. Some group members already picked this up back here for a swing trade, you know, a 90-day swing trade. Something on radar. We would consider this on radar in our group, and then later try to catch it on the exact day. All right, guys. Thank you so much for checking out this live stream. Remember, when we're looking at our positions, what we want to do is, instead of thinking about the outcome and the price, let's shift gears and think about the process. Instead of saying, how high can this go? Let's ask ourselves, what's the most bullish chain of events that can happen for my project? What can it say in that document the Fed's going to release in 7 days that can make my project rip to the upside? What will the dot plot vote look like when all these people that are up for election release the Clarity Act information, right? Let's focus on the process. Remember the last live stream that we did, guys? There was a VIP member who said, yeah, I'm worried about my cap upside. I thought we were going to see some gains, and that's a fair question. And the key answer is understanding the process, understanding what's happening. This, as we had hypothesized, that's our accumulation spike. This is why it went up and down. This is the market makers, the book, the offices, the institutions, the guys who matter picking it up at the meeting. And now we've got an immediate repricing with a whole roster of dynamite events, particularly that and this paired with that can just send it onto Goofy Street. So keep focused on the process. We know what's going on. And most importantly, this is something that if you're not using these macro data in your trading plan, jump into VIP, super friendly priced, and we cover all of it. What we'll be doing for VIP members is a sliding scale for CPI and PPI. And I get up at 5:30 in the morning and do the results for anybody who's active looking for positions. I would say if you're in VIP and you've already got a bag, you can probably sleep in for the CPI and PPI. In the event you're on the sidelines, you probably can also, because what you're going to want to see is a bearish event which will give us repricing all the way into the weekend. So there's not going to be a lot of like, we need to wake up at 5:30 and read the reports that I'm going to be doing this week. But there are other times when, yeah, it can be important to be up at 5:30 in the morning. Like you can see in all the trading plans that we have unlocked. A lot of those are correlated with or came out with trading plans like 5:30 in the morning, durable goods, get it. Rips to the upside. All right, guys. Awesome live stream. A lot of fun. Make sure you check out the tokenized stock. Meme coins, like Mars, like Grand Theft Auto 5, tokenized stock, stable coins are all on deck for what the politicians are going to throw at us and for what the Fed has in store. By understanding the process, we can understand when we get a curveball thrown. Now, we just had good news on Friday. The jobs report was bullish. Could have came in bearish, and that would have changed everything, right? Our election cycle rally thesis would be looking a little dumb right now as politicians race to do a ceasefire and do anything they can to push liquidity out of the bond market because the politicians, in my opinion, really want this election cycle rally. As we can see, they're aligning it with key Fed data, which we understand why they're doing it. 99.99% of traders have no idea. All right, guys. With FOST, I don't know what's going on with that one. I asked the KOL super meme coin guy about it, and he doesn't know either. So obviously with these scratch tickets, these low cap meme coins, we want to keep our position size low. I wouldn't dollar cost average into anything down. That's not a strategy or tactic that I use. We vetted this out and it looks legit. What this does is it's just like AIXBT, but it's for Robinhood, and the team works for Robinhood. So perhaps there's some kind of delay, in-house issues. It's something it's on radar, and you know, with these meme coins, man, at any time they can rip. I got one more for you guys, by the way. So we've been checking this out in VIP. We got in down here for dealer. This is the Ansem protocol. Similar to like Normie Guy or one that just broke out recently. Whenever Ansem, kind of like Black Bull, you guys have heard of Black Bull? Manlet, that's the one. There it is. So Manlet, this is also an Ansem. See that? It's an Ansem coin. As soon as Ansem drops a tweet on these, they go nuclear. Just like Black Bull. So here's Manlet. Who would have thought to get Manlet? Well, probably same people that thought to get dealer. So the logic here is different from our Fed stuff. These meme coins are more rooted in this kind of like nut hugging, like KOL stuff that I don't really like, but it's how it works. So once Anson drops a tweet, this is gonna like rip. So kind of early right now, I actually prefer more of these Mars coins, more of like stuff like FP that actually does something. Stockbroker. Great tokenized stock project that we got our members in on. Of course, I've got a bag of this GTA 6, and when the game drops, I'll be looking for it as well. And CAP, we understand the process. We're holding. Same with PRL. Remember, everybody's talking about CAP, which it does have a beautiful chart, but PRL has almost had it's printed almost the exact same gains as CAP. Remember, we got in here at the durable goods. Look at that. Yeah, this is actually about to pass CAP. PRL, nobody asked about adding on to, but I really like PRL, you guys. This is also a inverted head and shoulders rounded bottom. And so we've got all these trading plans in the description so you can see in our VIP how we're doing it, how it's done. And we've got a whole new round coming up. Yeah, PRL, that's getting up there. Over the last 14 days, there's CAP, there's PRL. They're neck and neck. CAP is number 11. PRL is number 13th. Best possible trades you could have got over the past 14 days. Timing the entries like a surgeon. Something that in the event you're not doing it, guys, this can help you out a lot just to understand the process. So jump on in to our VIP because we've got a ton coming up. Cliff notes for the minutes. It'll take me all 4 hours to do this. But there was a ton of information to extract. Then you can just read it in 90 seconds. Get all the juicy information out, saves you a ton a day. That alone, in my opinion, worth the price of admission. And obviously, this is such a big part of the process. It can cause projects to break out on the day, and it shapes the entire market. So you have to read your minutes. The more you read the minutes, the more we can understand the market and see where we are and where we're going to go. Sweet, guys. Thanks for checking this one out. We'll catch you on the next one.